Welcome to your weekday Cup of the Word. Today we're in Matthew chapter 12 and we're reintroduced to the Pharisees, some of Jesus' harshest and loudest critics. They level several arguments against Jesus in this chapter and Jesus handles them one by one. The first argument they bring up is that Jesus is working on the Sabbath. Jesus handles this by doing several things. One, he quotes an Old Testament verse talking about how David and he took the showbread on the Sabbath, and he points out, you're lenient when David did that, and yet you're real harsh with me over here. It seems like you've got a double standard. And then the second thing he brings up is the fact that the priests work every single Sabbath, and it's okay because they're doing God's work. He says, I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing God's work here on the Sabbath. Then the last thing he brings up is when they talk about him healing on the Sabbath being a sin because he's working on the Sabbath, Jesus simply says, if you had a wounded animal, you'd pull him out of the pit on the Sabbath. Here's a wounded man. I care about people more than I care about animals. How about you? And then the next thing that they bring up is they say that the only way he's able to cast out demons is because he gets his power from the ruler of demons. Well, Jesus laughs that one off because really, as he says, you don't conquer your own army, you conquer somebody else's army. And he very quickly handles that argument. Then the last thing that they bring up is the fact that they try to entrap Jesus by forcing him to perform another miracle. Show us another miracle and then we'll believe. Well, Jesus, instead of being the trained monkey who will do whatever they tell him to, Jesus says, if you won't believe these other miracles, why should I do another one? The problem isn't the miracles, it isn't the evidence, it's your hard hearts. Jesus had really harsh critique for hard-hearted people. But then at the very end of the chapter, we see that he compares those who hear his words and obey them to his family. The same man who had harsh critique for his critics is the same man who had kind words for the humble and honest-hearted. And that's your Daily Cup. We'll see you tomorrow.